It's incredible on how many people don't understand the difference between pre-qualification, pre-approval.
But we cover that on Motivational Monday.
And approval, right?
Yeah.
And they're all different, and they all have different meanings. This is Houses to Homes with Eric Spada, and today we got Carmen Costa, broker of record for TCG Lending Centers, and she's got quite a history behind her, and right now we're just going to talk to her.
What the hell does that mean? Quite a history.
Well,
is that on a good thing or a bad note?
That's a good thing, because you have, over 20 years in the industry?
That's right.
Right? You've gone through a lot of different iterations of the industry.
100%.
Whether that's personally or industry-wide. And forgive me, but you started at the bank.
Yep.
And then you decided, I'm just going to go out on my own.
I did. Yeah, I did. I'm very passionate about my clients. And when I think it was 2014 to 15, there was a shift in the market, and the bank turned around and said, you know what, this is the box we want. You need to fit clients in this box. And I was turning clients away to brokers. I was referring them over to brokers. And I'm like, what am I doing here? 30% of my business is now going over to brokers, but I was I'm very loyal. So I was with the bank for 10 years. I was getting a watch, and I swear I remember this.
Was that a Timex? Timex?
It was a Timex.
Nice. I like those.
But yeah, so I got this watch, and I had a baby, and they told me you either have to do mat leave or or forfeit your comp, go on mat, we'll pay you EI, or you stay in and work. And I'm like, so I don't get holidays? Are you kidding me? So that was my push. I said, you know what? I'm all about family. If you wanted me to come back 2 weeks after having a kid, all I asked for 6 weeks, then I'm going to leave. When my son was 3 months, I came over to the dark side. They called us the dark side. It's not the dark side. I'm here. It's the light.
It's the light. Do you see the light?
Yeah.
Do you know what I really like about your story is when we first met, you're straightforward, not pretty straightforward. You're straightforward. But what I think is really important for people to understand about you is that you never stop. Mm-hmm. Okay. So you get up at 12 o'clock at night after going to bed at 9 o'clock,
12 o'clock.
But you get up at 2:30 in the morning, isn't it?
Yeah, it's 2:30.
And you do your meditation.
Yep.
So you do your self-healing.
100%.
So you're not stopping on yourself. And then from there, you walk me through a day in a life.
Yeah. So I'm up at around, it's 3:30. I'm up around 3:30. I do my meditation to about 4:30, and then I get my house organized. So it's a lot. I've got to make sure homeschool is done. So for my kids to start around 7:30, the classroom has to be set up. So I do have a little setup. Jamie hasn't recorded it, but I do have a setup of a classroom setting, right? So I go into the classroom, set it up, get the board all set up for the day. But homeschooling, they recommend if you're one-on-one with your kids, and people are like, how can you homeschool and run a business? I'm like, okay, guys, it's only 2 hours.
Right.
So in school, you're only taught, and it was one teacher that we were here talking. It was one of my clients. He's like, you can homeschool your kids. And I'm like, really? He goes, I do. I'm like, but you're a teacher. He's like, yeah, so? He goes, it's 2 hours. He's like, the recommended time is 2 hours. I'm like, oh my God. So he goes, the rest is just babysitting. That's what schools do. I'm like, get out of here. Are you serious?
That's a nice pension for babysitting.
Right? He's like, but but in a setting. So I do want to say, I'm not chalking that down. It is hard to put a lesson plan together. And I have 2 kids that I'm teaching, my kids, right? And they're easy learners.
Ones, right? Yeah,
they're I was doing the 4, but now it's down to 2. But they're easy learners. They grasp concepts. And then, I want to say, imagine that times, up to 30.
Sure.
And it's a lot of work for a teacher.
Different personalities.
Oh my God. So I don't know how teachers do it, and how they teach 30 kids or 30 plus kids. That's crazy. With 2, it's manageable for me. So I set up their classroom, teach them for 2 hours. Then I'm on the phone right at 9:30.
Yep.
So I'm talking to, whether it be, the agents, lenders, it doesn't matter. I'm always on the phone. I'm on the phone all the time. And I realized because my daughter said to me, she's like, you're always on your phone. And I'm like, but I don't play games. Don't play games. I'm working. This makes money, lots of money.
Well, so last night I had a daughter date night.
I
right?
love it. I
Right?
saw the picture.
We were smashing sushi.
Yeah.
And my daughter, who's 8, said, and I think she's the same age as your daughter.
Yeah.
Right? She said, Daddy, okay, can we have a rule tonight? And I said, what's that? She said, no electronics.
I love it.
So, and then oddly enough, my wife had texted me, and I'm like, I felt like a kid. I'm like, can I touch it? Like, mommy's texting me. Can I answer? Because when we're on, we're on. And
You're right.
And in this industry, you can never be off.
No.
You can have a client call you at 9:00 at night, Saturdays, Sundays, whatever the case may be.
100%.
And if you want to be customer centric, right, you got to answer.
100%.
You
I
gotta
agree.
answer. So that's tough. That's tough.
It is tough, and I want to make mention very quickly. We are on, but the truth is, I also run the book of business. I also am trying to solidify, relationships for lenders with the agents. I want the brokerage to have a ton of variety and commitments to these lenders. I want, something I said yesterday in our meeting with one of the lenders. I want variety. So my agents can put good solutions. I don't want to be like, these are the 3 lenders we deal with, and that's it.
The box.
Yeah,
we
no,
don't
we're
want
not
a
going to
box.
do that. And I want to change the dynamic. So I'm always on the phone. I'm always researching what other lenders in this area could assist us outside of the area, within Ontario. These are the things that I'm looking for. But I am always on. Like it's, Mondays are slammed, right? Motivational Monday, payroll. Everything's getting slammed because I'm overseeing payroll because I know the system.
Right.
I just want to watch her doing it. So from 9:30 to, be right before Motivational Monday, I'm doing payroll. I'm trying to get payroll completed for you guys for pay, right? It's
Yep.
got to be done by 12 for it to be paid, right? So I find Mondays are slammed. So I'm like to the kids, you got to get up. You got to be up by 6:30, so mommy can teach you, and then you can have a relaxed day, right? So
Rock and
dad
roll.
dad does the awesome stuff. I always say, like, I get jealous. He does like the art. He takes them, I think the other day there was windy. We did kites.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So dad's running across. He's like, it was kind of snowy and wet. I'm like, who cares, bro? You have a good, it's good. Okay. It's good.
Deal with it.
Yeah. So, but I'm going to be honest with you. I love teaching my kids. I love teaching the agents. That's my passion, is giving the best knowledge to them. Perfect example. My daughter she's 6. And we went to take my mom to the neurologist yesterday. And so I said to Zendaya, right? I'm like, hey, I'm going to take you to the hospital. We're still learning. I'm like, I got to take Favol. You're going to come with me. And I said, Zendaya, in the car, a neurologist studies the brain. She's like, oh, a neurologist studies the brain. So that's it. It's in her head, right? So we go into this appointment. She's walking. She's like, are you the neurologist? Do you study the brain? The lady just stopped dead in this hallway. She looks at her and she goes, how old is your daughter? And I said, oh, she's 6. And I go, can you just show her what your job's about? Could you mind doing that for me? Just so, 'cause she wants to be a doctor. I said, just so she has a variety of what's going on. She's like, my privilege. Like, she's like, are you okay with her seeing the scans? I'm like, yeah, for sure. Go on. Shows her everything. Zendaya's looking through the MRI scan. She's like, this is awesome. This is Vavo's brain. So she's going through it with the lady. And the lady just looked at me. She's like, this is the best education. She's like, what you're doing right now.
Hands-on and yeah.
She's like, but I'm like, this is what I'm telling you. I'm taking 2 things. I'm like, okay, you're going to come with mommy. Mommy's, because you want to be a doctor.
Right.
And I'm like, Servain, this is his lesson. Teach him this. 9, I had to take my mom at 8:30. I'm like, okay, we're gonna break off and do this. But in the car, I'm educating Zendaya. I'm like, okay, Zendaya, this is blah, blah, blah. So that's what I'm like, when you say I'm busy, I'm usually very diverse with what I'm doing with my time. I'm like, okay, gonna take this, put it together, let's work together, sort of thing.
What amazes me about how busy you are and how you come across to people is I know there have been times that you and I have talked and you are, worn out. We'll call it worn out.
Yeah,
You're
100%.
You're drained. It's
Yeah.
natural. You're human. You're not superwoman.
100%.
But it just amazes me how you still maintain positivity.
Oh, 100%.
You still find it because it's so easy to get to the dark side. And
100%.
And pull yourself out of the dark. How do you do it?
Every day, every morning. Meditation, man. I'm being dead serious. It's meditation. I say this wholeheartedly. Like, people are like, that's it? That's the key. 100%. And sometimes it's hard. Like, Eric, it's hard getting up early. Like, I tell people, I'm like, sometimes I just want to sleep and be like, oh, meditate while I sleep. But I actually have to center myself and the reason why I do that, and I say this wholeheartedly, meditation helps me prepare for your interaction. I don't want you to have, just because I'm worn out and tired, doesn't mean I have to be negative.
Right.
I still want to be positive with you and joke around with you. I don't have any, like, I don't think I've ever, and that irritates Servain. Like, Servain's like, how can you be so positive? You're so annoying. And I'm like, I'm not. It's just, I'm trying to, and some days I do have off days, like, where I'm like so tired where, you know, and it's all self-talk. I don't go at you and be like, Eric, blah, blah. It's more like a prime example. Yesterday, I made a mistake. Coming out of the parking lot, I'm the worst driver. I'm not the best driver. So I'm coming out of the parking lot.
Not the best driver, not good with numbers. What else we got?
No, but I'm driving out and I hit the stupid curb. And my mom starts, like, my mom's the best. I love my mom. But she's like, oh, you're never a good driver. And my daughter from the back says, my mom's the best driver. She's actually a really good driver, Vovo. You shouldn't say that because it's not nice, right? And I'm like, I look in the mirror, I'm like, what is wrong with you? But then when we got home, she said to her dad, she goes, Vovo wasn't really nice with mommy. Like, and I said, no, Zendaya, Vovo was just saying to me, like, and she's like, no, mommy, you are a good driver. You can't say you're a bad driver. That's not good to say bad stuff about yourself. And I realized I do a lot of self-talk.
Okay.
So I'm like, oh, how could I do this, man? I should be a lot smarter than this. That's what I'm working on this now.
Because they're watching and listening.
And she says it, and they come right behind me, and they're like, but I tell them, no, you're not like that, Zendaya.
Right.
You're amazing. You're awesome, right? And that's what I try to teach them, but I'm doing this. We all do the self-talk.
Yep.
So the negativity is more about internal. And that's why, like, my messages go out to you guys to get you on the right frame of mind. That comes at you right in the morning. So when you're looking at it, you're in a good frequency right away.
And it's hard too, because those messages are great. Every morning they come out. And if, like, there was last week, I was just in a dark spot, very stressed out, et cetera, et cetera. You see them, and it's hard to
100%.
come out of it and go, I'm going to absorb these words, and I'm going to actually listen to it for a hot second. It's hard.
Oh, it's
when
so hard.
When you're in the dark side, you're in the dark side.
100%.
And so now, walk me through a little bit your vision. Walk through my one audience member, which is me right now, but we're going to grow this, I promise. Your vision in a world where, oops, is that better? In a world where a woman at the top still kind of, I don't know if it's accepted yet. We don't know. We'll see.
100%.
In an industry that is 99.7% male.
100%.
And, however many percentage, we were talking earlier today, 12,000 new people
Have come
new
in.
agents
Let's hope they're all females. No, I'm kidding.
in the industry. How many are not doing it the right way? How many are doing it the quick and easy and fast and dirty way?
100%.
Talk about your vision. Talk about what you see the future of TCG lending, the future of mortgages. Talk about that for a hot second.
100%. I believe wholeheartedly when it came to my vision, when I came to this side, and it all stems from, I enter into this broker house, and I'm one of their top producers, and he treats me like I'm nothing. All right. And I'm like, okay, this makes no sense. I remember I think I was like 9 months pregnant, and I'm in the hallway screaming at him. Like, I just don't think he knew who I was. So I wasn't the best back then. But I was irritated. I was like, you have a boys club that these guys are doing 5 million each, and I do over 40 million. Like, does that even make sense? Right. So, I took that and said, and then I started seeing around me, Edward was a part of that group, and Edward would talk, and he was intimidated at all times, right? He was intimidated always, he's like, I got to watch my back. When he would talk to me, he'd be like, I have to be careful what I say. I didn't like that restriction. I didn't like that somebody could have power over people.
Right.
So my vision was, this business is a subcontract business. This is a business for entrepreneurs. Mm-hmm. What happened in this industry is mortgage broker owners took it and started making people employees, right? Yeah. And this isn't an employee business. Like, you need to understand that. This is an entrepreneur business. So when I came off to open up the Costa Group, it started off as the Costa Group. When we came over, I said, I want people to join here where there's true transparency, where they can, they know what's coming from the top down to them. And then they can run their business efficiently as if we're all one. I'm not your boss. You know, I know people are like, hey, boss, like joking around. But I will tell people when I hear it all the time, I will tell people, I'm your partner. Like, we're friends. Like, we're coworkers. I don't ever want you to feel threatened with me. Like, and I'm not a power tripper. I know I'm not a power tripper. So I'm like, I'm far from that. I want to collaborate and make people successful. But it was more on the human aspect where I see people that are so good, and people would come in, and I'm not naming names. I remember this one individual came in, and he was on the brink of separating from his wife, everything. And now today, if you look at him, the successes that and like even yesterday, he's like, you don't know what you did for me. You were one part of my life that's changed my life, where you bettered my life, right? That's what I want for my agents. I want them to be the best individuals they can be, and mortgages will come along.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mortgages come along. And I honestly care for the human being. And I think people don't understand the understanding of that. They're like, oh yeah, okay, you care about the money. And it's like, you have no idea.
It's
you
the
don't
human
know.
approach. You have the human approach.
You have no idea. And I love humans. And I think people are such good-hearted individuals that they just lost sight, because this industry's dark, right? And I hate saying that. This industry is a tough industry. I keep to myself. I don't collab with people. I don't talk to when you say, oh, this person knows you, I'm like, never talk to them. They may know me because they know of me, but they don't know me, because, I will meet people and they're like, oh, I've heard about you so long. And I'm like, that's good. You can stay there. Right. Where, I think now you talk about, it doesn't even matter if it's female or male that are at the top. I just want an atmosphere where you're free to do and run your business. Right. That's it. And not restricted. I don't want you looking over your back thinking, oh shit, what's going to happen, right? I don't want that. I really, truly feel that if you have a positive environment, if you're immersed in positivity, you will succeed twofold. I'm telling you. And I think people just don't understand that. They're like, oh, this positivity of The Secret, the book. The concept's there. I like The Secret. The concept's there. You just really have to live by it. And it's hard. Today I got up, I was extremely exhausted because 2 days I was bad headache. And then, once I'm getting back in the game, I'm trying to catch up. And this morning I'm like, oh, maybe I'll just sleep in. But then I'm like, no, I've got the podcast. I have to be in the right frame of mind.
Right.
So, but Zervain said, Zervain's known me forever. And he goes, you've changed so much. I don't know. And I'm like, Zervain, get up and meditate. I'm like, just get up and meditate. He won't. He kills me. I'm like, get up and meditate. Just sit in your center and just feel your being. And then I'm telling you, things just come naturally, right? Where if I'm in a 911, I'm not going to I don't, even under pressure, I don't scream at people. So that's what I mean. I'm not that person. I just don't do that.
You're always screaming.
I'm always screaming anyways,
so
man.
Nobody can differentiate.
Well, I'm also Portuguese, so.
Well, there you go. See, you talk with your hands just like I do.
Yeah, right?
Right.
When I used to have the stepwatch, I'd have 3,000 after a podcast.
Well, you know what? I got the Apple Watch, and if I'm doing my hair, it asks me if I'm in an elliptical. No, I'm not in an elliptical. No workout.
Remember when you were like, Carm, I got a great tip when we were doing the step challenge. Roll around in your bed.
That's
so
it.
The next day I did it. Somebody's like, what are you doing? I'm like, remember when Eric's...
Just put it on the dog. Let it run around. You're good.
No, the bed. You were like, make a mess in the bed. I was like, why do I listen to this guy? I'm like, what? And Zervain, I'm like, don't tell him I told you.
Now it's recorded. Evident. We talked about the dark side. Coincidentally, yesterday I had a good conversation with my big sister, Dee. Yes, you're part of this podcast now. But no, I had a conversation with her because I'm running into a couple problems where I can't be the yes man. Don't worry, we take care of you. Don't worry.
I love it.
I want to educate. I want to do what I got to do to make it right for the client. And I'm like, you know what? This sucks because, it's so easy to go down that path of going, whatever you want, Mr. Client, Miss Client, I get you whatever you want. No worries. Don't worry. I don't need any documents. I don't need any information. 100%. You're approved, right?
Yeah.
And that's even that. I'm going to sidebar now. Are you noticing that a lot more people are going to do things unconditional
100%
with a pre-qualification?
Yeah.
Because
100%.
they're not being educated on what a pre-qualification is.
100%. Yeah.
It's just me on a calculator.
You have no idea. I had a guy come to me 2 weeks because I'm in the business. I do this. I had a guy come to me who was $200,000 over his purchase price. I was like, and the agent's like, "Can you fix this?" I'm like, "How are you 200? Who's your broker?" I'm like, "What is going on?" Like I was freaking. I'm like, and then me and Amanda had a conversation. I'm like, I don't want to be this person, right?
No.
And I don't want my agents being this person.
You can't.
But imagine now the guy comes to you and he's like, "Well, they said," I'm like, "So go try they.
Go.
Let it go. You
Yep.
got to go." And this Monday reached out and said, "Can you, the only thing we can do is private. I'm sorry."
Right. No, it's
Now I'm damage control, right?
It's
you know
incredible.
it.
It's incredible on how many people don't understand the difference between pre-qualification, pre-approval,
But we cover that on Motivational Monday.
and approval,
Yeah.
right? And they're all different, and they all have different meanings.
Right.
But it's just, the market is making people do crazy things.
Well,
and
they're doing this online app now. I don't know
Yeah.
if you saw with Scotiabank, RBC. They're all like, not that I'm dropping names, but you could just actually input everything.
That's it.
But I
Done.
want you to remember back in the day when I was a teller and I walked
teller.
to the snow, like through the snow. No, I'm kidding.
Uphill, both ways, no shoes. Gotcha.
But when I was a teller, we would have people where they would come in front of me. I had this behavior. So he would come to me and be like, "Hey, I'd like to apply for a visa, right? Or overdraft." And I'm like, "Sure. Can I get your letter of employment? Can I get your," and he's like, "I don't need this." I'm like, No, you do. "Can I get your pay stub? Can I get," "Oh, well, I don't have a job." And I'm like, "Well, sorry, can't get you this," right? They would walk out of the branch. I'm not even kidding you guys. They would walk out of the branch. I would get a package 2 weeks later with the same guy's name. And I'm like, and it would be, I'd have to sign the online visa and overdraft. The buddy would sit in my office and just smiling at me. And I'm like,
Wow.
You've got to be kidding me.
Wow.
And I would go to the manager and I'd be like, "Scotiabank needs to fix this, this issue. Like, this is crazy. I just declined this guy. He doesn't have a job." Well, online, they did their verification. I'm like, "What verification?" I find that when you do that with mortgages, when they're I cringe. I see this on, just input your information. We'll give you and I'm like,
And
who's
people are running, and they're
verifying?
running.
I'm like, who's verifying this? Like, you know how scary
And they're
this
buying
is?
$2 million homes.
300,000 over your purchase price. 300,000 over your purchase price. I'm like, what is going on in this industry?
No, it's crazy.
It's crazy, but this is what we're seeing. But if you guys are doing the right steps, and I remember Dee, you talked about Dee, she would say, "This isn't fair, Carm. It's not fair." She would
Right.
be upset. If you ask her, she would be like, everybody else is doing. I'm like, so if everybody was jumping off a bridge, would you jump off a bridge?
Well, now she's upset because I'm coming after her. So I'm going to take her right from the top. She's worried. She walks in the office and she does this all the time. Is Eric here? Where's Spada Mortgage Group? Where is he? So she's awesome. She's awesome.
Yeah.
And you know what? I got to tell you, coming from a different brokerage, the atmosphere that you've created here at TCG has been incredible. I came in, I was the first TCG email because you
Love it. He was.
You were going through the so I think
Yeah.
I'm the oldest.
You are. You would be the bro. You're the
Dee,
oldest.
I'm the oldest. You're out. You were going through a transition to get back to TCG from where we were before.
Yeah.
But again, it's kind of odd, right? You come into this firm, you come into this environment, and it's like
Family,
motivational Monday, all this positivity, and it's like,
What's up?
Where's all the fairy dust coming from? I
listen,
don't have
but
any
you-
fairy dust right now.
But when you came on, it was like, "Welcome, Eric. Welcome, Eric." You're like, "Who are all these people?"
But then we had St. Patty's Day, and
It was so much
It was
fun.
nice to actually meet people in person, not just over.
But don't you
Zoom.
see how beautiful everybody is?
No, it's actually everybody is super nice.
I love
so
everybody,
if you can't be part of a team, if you can't be part of an environment where you're going to be selfless, then you shouldn't be here.
No, and
you
I
won't
agree.
be here. You
Yeah,
won't be
you
here.
won't.
Because
Yeah.
it is different here.
It's
Because,
very different.
I mean, as many times as people are like, "Oh, we have this group chat, you can, ask a question, anybody will answer." I've been there, done that. Nobody answers because who's the new guy? Whatever. What numbers is he putting up? Whatever.
100%.
Right? But nobody wants to help anybody out because they're too afraid.
Yeah.
And it takes a strong leader like yourself to say, you know what? So your book of business is 45, right?
Yeah.
I want somebody to do 55.
100%, man.
65. Go nuts.
100%.
Knock
Do you know
me
how
down.
excited I get when people beat me out on the month?
Absolutely.
I'm so excited. I call, I get teary eyed. Like this week I saw the numbers. I was teary eyed. I'm like, and Serene's like, "Why do you get so more?" I'm like, because everything that I put into these guys and girls, like, you have no idea. Like, I want them to succeed. Dee was my direct assistant.
Yep.
She could be my direct competitor. And like, she's like, I don't want to leave. I'm like, Dee, I'm sorry. I'm going to have to push you out of the nest, because you were like, push her out of the nest.
Kick her
I'm
out.
like, he doesn't know, though, but I did. Like, she sat across from me in the boardroom, and she was like in tears. She's like, don't do this to me, Carm. I don't. I'm like, Dee, you're ready to be a leader. I need you to go off. And she's like, I feel like you're abandoning me. I'm like, she was mad at me for 3 months. I was like, she's going to leave. I know she's going to leave. And all that I've put into her, but she didn't. She stuck by it, and look at her.
No, she's
like,
awesome.
That's what I'm saying. Like, look at her. But everybody goes through the motions. They hate, and then like, they're like, oh, they get mad at me, and I'm like, okay, it's okay. Like, you can do this. Like, I'll give you time, think about it. And some of them walk away and leave, and that's okay. They weren't meant to be here.
Right.
And that's my mentality, where I'm like, I need to help the agent notice their potential. They're so good at it. They know they're good at it, but there's a lot of things in this industry that make people hard, right? They make them angry or hard. So when they come to see me or interview with me, I'll be honest, within the first 5 minutes, I'm like, oh God, how am I going to say yes, or how am I going to say no, right? How am I going to get, and it is hard, but I'm lucky and blessed enough now that I'm actually, when I interview, I don't interview just to hire. I interview to see, okay, is this person good for my culture? Because culture.
Yeah, culture is important.
So if I mix that like, I bring somebody in that just doesn't mix well with the culture, we're done.
And
right?
everybody's great here. I mean,
100%.
the first time I reached out to Chantal,
she's the best. Yeah,
no problem, call me. First time I reached out to Dee, no problem, call me. Marcus, no problem.
But do you know why the behavior is there? When
Well,
they started here,
Okay.
When they start here, I help them, but I don't charge them, because other brokerages are like 50-50.
Yeah.
Oh, you got a mentorship that's 20 bips. Oh, you got this. By the time you get your check, you're like $100,
Yeah.
right? You know it, man. Your first paycheck. So here, I'm like, I say to the team, because sometimes the girls lose sight. I'm like, do you remember when you started? Like, I held your hand, right? Like, all I'm asking you is pay it forward to the next agent that
And
comes in.
you said that to me when I came in.
100%.
You said that to me when I came in.
100%. Like, you can have
October.
formal, like, everybody's like, oh, formal training, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, no, it's not about that. It's your family around you that supports you and picks you up. So, yeah, okay, we have formal training. I said, okay, fine. If people want to see formal training, it was in the works when you started. We were in the works putting that formal training with videos. And I'm like,
Right.
That's not how you learn. You learn by your family backing you up
That's
and
right.
helping you and paying it forward.
That's right.
So there's no conventional way of training, but for me to sit next to you, being a good friend and family member, saying, hey, this is how you put the deal together. And they care to give you the right advice so you don't
And
lose
you're
the
not
deal.
a burden, a nuisance. Oh, you're taking time
and
away from
and
me.
you
going
know
to
the
make
agents
money.
don't do that. Like, none of my agents do that, because it's all from how you said something about the kids. They watch you.
Yep.
They're watching you. It all comes from me. I never, ever, with all my team, from all the times that I've done, opened up from doors, I've never taken money out of their pocket unless they knew.
Yeah,
right?
you're very transparent with that.
No, I would never, ever go, oh, okay, Eric, I did most of this time, blah, blah, it's going to be 50 bips. I would never do that. Like, never. And I need people to understand that. Like, that's my vision too, where I'm like, just pay it forward.
Just pay it forward.
I help you. So now the new person that comes in, you're going to go help them and be like, I want to have the same culture that Carmen built.
That's
I
right.
want, so Dee will answer her phone all the time, because
does.
I know she does, because I'm answering her call. Imagine I didn't answer her call. She's going to repeat that behavior. But I answer her call all the time.
You got to lead by
right?
example, right? So if you're
100%.
not doing it, you can't expect anybody else to do it.
100%. Yeah.
So do me a favor. Let's close out here. Tell me about the next 3 to 5 years with TCG Lending Centers.
I love this. Didn't we just talk about this?
With who? I don't have the scoop.
I just did.
I don't get the first scoop.
No, somebody asked me this on another podcast. Yeah,
No.
it's awesome.
What's the next 3 to 5 years look like in your mind?
Growth. Growth,
I would
yeah.
hope growth. But
Yeah.
talk about it.
I'd like to see us, I'd like to have an elite 100. So I call them the elite 100. So it's 100 agents under my umbrella. The next 3 to 5 years, I would love to see so much improvement on the training program we're putting together. There's a lot in the works right now. I'd like to see 10 more locations being opened in different cities. I'd like to have in those cities leaders that are leading them. Right. So we just opened up Fawn Hill.
Yep.
We have a great leader. I was beyond blessed to receive Christian. He's a great leader. He's a great branch manager. So, but he's outside forward thinking. That's what I need. So, I want just like 10 elite trainers. So 10 people under 10, like under one leader. So I want to make sure that that group is constantly, but I always will be involved with the team.
Yeah,
always.
absolutely.
I'm always front and center. I love everybody equally. I couldn't see myself not, like I didn't hear from you, I think for 2 days. I'm like, where the hell did he go? It was weird. I was like, why isn't he texting me or messaging me, right? Like it's, and like D won't message me for an hour. And I'm like, where is she? But I just want to see like that 100, the elite 100. I just want people to know when they see the name TCG, they're going to be like, those are elite people. That's my vision. I just want everybody to have the knowledge they need with their business. So, but I want the elite 100. There's elite 100. That's my vision. So it's on my vision board. I just finished my vision board. It's called the elite 100. So
That's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. So if you're with us, you're with us. If you're not, you're not. Everybody's like, am I part of it? I'm like, well, you are now. But if you leave me, what do you want me to do?
Well, you know what? It's great to be here. It's great to be on part of your team.
I'm so excited, honestly. On another note,
Yep.
Eric, I'm so proud of you doing this podcast. I'm so excited.
Am I the first one? Am I the first
you
one,
are.
Jamie?
Yeah, you are. You're the first one. So that's when I'm like, you have no idea. I'm just so, Dee's doing it tomorrow.
No, I'm
just
back
kidding.
tomorrow. I'm back tomorrow. I got this room booked.
I said tomorrow because I wanted you to yell at her. No, but yeah. But yeah, no, I'm just excited. So I'm so proud of you, and I think this is awesome.
Well, you know what? I really appreciate everything you do. I really appreciate everything you do for the team, for myself. It's great. We got that little bet going on this year about what's going to happen.
Win.
You're going to win? You think so?
100%.
All right.
Twofold, man. You're gonna make a lot. You're gonna make a lot of money.
Well, we'll see. Hopefully.
I'm not having sushi though, so don't be trying to buy me sushi.
You know what? Do you know a good Portuguese restaurant?
I do, yeah.
Well, let's go.
Yeah,
Let's
we
do
can
it.
go there for
Nice.
sure, 100%.
Nice. Anyway, thank you very much for joining me on my first inaugural podcast. I really appreciate it.
This is awesome.
This has been Houses to Homes with Eric Spada. Look for us. What is it? Subscribe, like, bell,
Hit the bell notification.
jingle. Oh, you got that down pat now.
Yeah.
Hit the bell notification, like, subscribe,
Every
share,
time a video drops, you'll get notified.
send me money, whatever. I don't know. Whatever works. All right. Thank you very much, and we'll be back.